Maribeth, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have you on the show today. You are, I pride myself in saying, one of my biggest successes when it comes to my pigs because of what you
Oh,
do. I can't wait for you to share it. So thank you so much for being here.
you're so welcome. I'm very excited as well.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you want to get a pet pig to begin with.
Yes. So, me and my husband have been married a little over 4 years. And when we were dating, I had chronic Lyme disease to the point that I was dying. And obviously, as a boyfriend kind of coming into this world of sickness with me, he was doing everything he could to cheer me up. And that took the form of sending me a little piglet picture. After one day, he was, holding me because I was, in a lot of pain, and he called me his pig in a blanket. And I was not happy about being called a pig because you just don't do that with your girlfriends. I mean, that's like calling her a cow or something. And he's like, no, 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 totally backpedaling as he's digging his hole. Like, no, they're adorable. Let me show you. Let me show you. So he sends me these cute little, mind you, piglet, not, teacup piglet pictures. And of course, they were adorable. So I was, a little comforted by the fact that he had called me, a little pig in a blanket. And so we started sending these cute pictures back and forth, obnoxiously to the point, at least once a day for like 2 years. So by the time we're at the 2 year mark, I'm in love with pigs. He's in love with pigs. We know all these cute little facts about them, like they sleep snout to snout and love cuddling, all these things. So finally, me being the action taker with my personality, decide that we need a pet pig. We need to stop talking about it and just get one. And so I just pulled out my Google Maps and typed in pig breeders near me. Now, I had no idea that I was in the Lord's hands when that happened, because now knowing what I know, the fact that you were the first person that popped up because we're in close proximity, saved our entire family culture, having not needing to go through an unethical breeder, but rather found you right from the get go. So grateful for that. But just a little bit about our family. We are both very entrepreneurial. He's starting a CrossFit gym. I worked in the publishing space. I'm actually quitting my job at the end of this year and going full time with my pet pig business, which we'll probably get into more. But we have a little son, 2 year old named Lincoln. One of the reasons we love what we do with our animals is that we get to do it as a family. Family time is really important to us. And so having a peaceful family culture is also really important to us. And obviously, having you as a resource and working out the kinks that come with being a mini pet pig owner has been, life-saving and wonderful. I'm the extrovert in the relationship. My husband's the introvert. That definitely comes into play when you're walking a pig down the street and everyone wants to talk to you. We used to live in the city. We went potty, 3, 4 times a day. We're outside. And anytime we stepped out our doorstep, we were like already in the city park, basically. So I would talk to 9 people a day, and my husband would, shoot to the backyard as quickly as possible with them, because we'd have, the old man with the handlebar mustache riding his motorcycle, swing into a parking spot, or the old lady just screaming, running down the street because she can't believe she's meeting a pet pig. So that's just a little bit about our family. I should say this: we do have two of your pigs, Willow and Perry, both from your tree litter. We kept their names because we love them, and we have a deposit for another little piglet coming soon from you guys as well. So we will be a 3 pig family. Lord help us. And they are about 3.5, a little over 3.5 years old, and both therapy pet certified through you as well.
Amazing. So when you approached Donovan and said you want you are a family of why can't I spit it out? You are ready to get a pig, right? You needed a
Yes.
pig in your family. What was his reaction to that?
Well, we were just newly married, so anything I wanted, I got. No, I'm just kidding. But he, of course, loves animals. I identify as not being an animal person, but I love animals, especially that are mine. The pigs have really grown my heart for animals. growing up sick most of my life and my entire adult life. I just didn't have energy for anything, much less kids, much less animals.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm healed of Lyme disease now. I didn't mention that. It's completely gone. But so when I said, hey, I wanted to pet pig, he was like, okay, that makes sense to him. What he wasn't quite prepared for was the speed about which I was to execute with, which was less than 24 hours. I had a deposit down on Willow. Perry actually joined our family um, about 2 or 3 months after he was born. They were born March of 2020 with COVID. So you were unable to fly him out to California where his original family who had chosen him
That's
was
right.
located. And you contacted me and said, hey, do you want another one? And I said, yes, please. Because Willow, I mean, within 24 hours of being in her home was throwing her first tantrum. So we were like, yeah, I think she needs a little companionship and someone to like keep her in line and to take her energy out on. So
Yes. And that was a good move for both
it
of them.
was. Mm-hmm.
They do well together. They kind of keep each other in line. So
Yes.
that was definitely a good move. Now,
Yeah.
did you guys besides, well, I'll just ask the question. When you decided to get one, how did you prepare?
Yes. So I did tons of online research. First of all, I followed all the instructions that you gave, and that included copious amounts of research. So I pretty much read through the entire mini pig info website, except for some of the like health things, like if they
Mhm.
catch this, what do you do? I didn't read through
Right.
those. Read through everything. I kept like, really detailed lists on the note section of my phone on enrichment ideas, food. I am a researcher by nature, but I had everything. I knew so much going in. I called all the vets in my area, found the one that I was comfortable working with, asked lots of questions. I bought a lot of things, probably way more than I needed. Um, but the research and buying the best things, determining what we wanted for our piglet. Now, we've become more seasoned pig parents, so our piglet that we're getting here soon probably won't have lavender diffused on top of their crate every night. Although I think that is a good thing. Maybe I should go back to that. But just tons of research on American mini pig association, that of course your resources, and I bought the AMPA, all the books, the training guide, the handbook, everything. So I just researched so much,
Mhm.
and I felt so prepared because I didn't go into it with these false assumptions that it was going to be like having a dog, which I didn't have any experience with anyway, so I wouldn't have really had much to reference it. But oh, if I don't have the time in my family schedule to actually give them enrichment, we're going to have problems. Like I knew that going in. So when we did hit some different seasons, like right after we had our baby and the pigs weren't first priority, and Lincoln took up a lot of our time, they started getting bored, and I was prepared for the things that happened when they got bored, and I wasn't surprised by them. I was a little annoyed and frustrated, but I knew better. So therefore I wasn't like, well, we just have to get rid of them because they're driving us crazy.
Mhm.
Like I knew, oh, I'm not doing this and this. This is not my pig's fault. This is my fault. So how are we going to fix this?
Oh,
So
that's
that
so
world changing.
important. Yes,
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
so important to do that research. It really sets you up for success, and it enables you to have realistic expectations in
Hmm.
yourself and in your pig.
Absolutely.
So, you already mentioned a little bit about it, but what was your experience like, finding piglets, finding a
Hmm.
pig and a breeder, and then bringing them home?
Yeah. So, like I said, I found you right away. You were the only breeder I talked to. It was a very simple conversation because very quickly, like you and I realized like we're very similar. So, I don't know what your vetting process looked like, but it was pretty easy on our end. And so essentially, it was just a deposit and then just watching. The piglets had been born like the day before or something. So, we were just glued to Instagram or whatever social media they were on. And so about we went out to visit Willow, of course, Perry too. We didn't realize it though. I think once or twice while they were still with their mom and being weaned, and of course we learned so much from you each of those times. and got that interaction and bonding time with her. And then when she was ready to go home, you sent us home with everything we needed. And because of my immense amount of research, I think I even came with my own car carrier or something, but brought a lot of stuff too. I think we even left a toy, during our first couple visits.
Mhm.
We were those people. And so bringing them home, then we had our space set up. We had everything ready to go, gate, litter pan. We'd even talked through like, Willow's not going to be allowed in the bathroom and she's not going to be allowed in her bedroom for right now. And, we had like kind of her house rules ready to go. Of course, some of which have been fudged since then. And I think, make sure we get to this later, but my husband was not, while he thought some of the rules sounded good, he wasn't ready to enforce some of them, which came with a few consequences.
Mm.
um, so we can talk about that later. The whole sharing food, your food with your pig. And anyway, so we brought her home. Within her first 24 hours, she started throwing a little tantrum, which we identified right away thanks to you. And we figured out, within 24 hours that it was because the gate was see-through. It was spindles versus a solid wall. Her in your home, she was not able to see outside her pen. She was able to see outside this area, and she wanted to be with us. And she let us know. And I think because we had that bonding experience with her at your house when she was still with her mom, she felt comfortable enough in the new environment because we were there that she went right into
Mhm.
figuring out what was okay and not okay. And you helped us navigate okay, here's how you respond or don't respond to a tantrum. So it was actually extremely smooth. Of course, we tried not to have everyone and their mother over because, of course, they all wanted to see her. We actually did do, my immediate family and grandparents, and she did just fine with it. She was not overwhelmed at all. But if you know Willow's personality, she can handle so much stimulation. She is such a go-getter. She's confident. I actually have to like hold her back. We can get into this later, but as far as being a certified therapy pet, she's the one that I'm most concerned about, that I keep the tightest eye on, and the one I will bench quickly because she is so eager. She can actually make people uncomfortable, or she, will get a little bit of an attitude, which I have to recognize immediately. That way we don't put her in a situation where, she accidentally nips someone just because she's in a bad mood. So,
Yeah.
knowing her personality now, she was the perfect piglet to have some people over early. Whereas if Perry would have come home right away, I think he would have been way too overstimulated, which of course is your advice to new pet owners, to not kind of
Right.
give them a week before everyone comes. So
Yeah. It's important that they bond with you.
absolutely.
Yeah. And
Very important.
yes.
Otherwise, they're just terrified, which is not
Right.
fun.
Right. We don't want to stress them out. It's already a new stressful thing to be in a new
Yeah.
home with new people, all that stuff.
Even moving, we've moved once with them, and Perry took a while just to get used to the new routine. And
Mhm.
he's just very sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They all have such different personalities.
Yeah. Let me
So,
describe Perry a little bit.
yes, I was just going to
Um,
say, tell us about Perry's personality.
Yeah, so he is what we describe as the gentle lover. So he is a much more cautious pig. I mean, the difference between him and Willow, if I'm teaching, oh, let's learn how to go up some stairs into the car, it takes Willow 30 seconds. It takes Perry 30 days. Not quite, but close. He's maybe 10 pounds heavier, so his body weight's different, and that makes him nervous. But he's the one that um, is really curious. They're all really curious, but Perry's like gently curious. But then he'll just get in his little brain to kind of wander off and go on a little adventure down a path, that he finds. So very curious, but in a different way. Willow's just kind of in your face, like, oh, what's going on? I'm curious. Whereas Perry's like, oh, I'm gonna like snoot around and oh, just go on my own little thing. So he'll tend to hang back. Um, but such a lover. Willow is a huge cuddler, like, hey, I want you, and I'm going to sit in your lap and let's cuddle, or I'm going to lean up against you. Whereas Perry, you've got to earn it. But he's the first one to go down and get a belly flop,
Mm.
or belly flop and get scratches. Willow will take forever to get down. Like, it's so annoying because I have to check him for ticks all the time during certain seasons, and it will take me like 20 minutes to get to like, to get her to check certain parts of her body. Whereas Perry's just like, you give him a little love and he's just like, oh, it just kind of melts.
Oh,
But he's also like nervous to jump up on the couch, and just like he really wants to be invited in. But he is perfect just perfect. I can like turn around in a setting where we've never been together before, and there's like 10 months old, 2-year old, and I don't have to worry about him. He's never nipped anyone.
Mhm.
Um, he is just like, again, more afraid of them
Yeah.
than they are of him. So yeah, those are our two piggies.
Oh, they're so sweet. I've had the privilege of coming and observing you doing your thing at events and stuff, and it's just amazing. They do so well. It's so
Maybe we
cool to
should like
see.
talk about that instead of teasing them a
Okay.
little bit. Should I get a
Okay,
little
I'm
overview
sorry.
of
I'm
that?
sorry.
No,
Uh,
you're good.
let's keep going through the questions
I love that.
because we'll get to it. So,
Okay. So listen to
so
the end.
okay, yes, stay tuned. Stay tuned. So, the biggest challenge having pet
Yes.
pigs.
Yes. Um, I would say the biggest challenge for us is when the weather's bad, having to watch them inside or having them inside when we're busy.
Mm,
Um, so again, we're both entrepreneurs. We've started multiple businesses. We're raising a family. Um, and we also live in a smaller space at the moment. We've always kind of been in small spaces. And, especially during the winter, we live in northwestern Pennsylvania, where right under Lake Erie, where there's a lot of lake effect snow. And when it's too cold out, they need to be indoors. So when we're busy, that means, okay, we're now having to parent two toddlers. And in our first home, we had carpeting and different things that was super old. So it was just Temptation City and like a pig's extravaganza
mhm,
to, be like, rooting at the carpet or, doing whatever. And, it's difficult to concentrate and focus on a project, let's say at hand, if you're having to parent toddlers. So that's just been a struggle for us. What type of activities can we engage them in that are longer than just 5 minutes? And how do we keep them from getting bored to the point that they are then tempted to maybe taste the trim or chew up a shoelace
mhm,
or, do something like that, which of course is not ideal behavior. Um, so we really have had to get creative and also just had to have grace for both ourselves in saying, hey, you know what? I know they're going to be created like 6 hours today, and that's not what we want for them. But for our own mental health, we're unable to watch them and we cannot have family time right now. So we're going to like put a space heater by the crate. They're going to enjoy that heat
mhm,
and we're going to call it good for today. It's just not a good day. And then also having that commitment to our family that, hey, whenever the weather's nice, like the pigs are out as much as possible.
mhm,
And of course, we're overseeing that as well. Um, but just finding things that work. I think another really big challenge has been squealing for us. There's a few things we did that, we didn't get off to the best of start with it. And then having someone like Willow, who's just a more persistent personality, when we talk about squealing, Perry will join her sometimes, but he's not a big squealer, and she is. Again, I think
mm.
it's personality. I look at my personality; I'm also very persistent. Um, Anyway, and so just squealing, we do feed them at all different times of the day. They always get fed twice. But we'll range that anywhere from 7:30 to 10 o'clock in the morning or, 2:30 to 8 o'clock at night. It just depends. We've been hinting at, we take them out a lot. So they're also getting treats out and about. So they never go for more than 6 hours without eating. But um, yeah, squealing in the morning. We have found a huge difference between their crate being covered and their crate not being covered. We have way more squealing issues when the crate is uncovered.
Mm,
So that's been really challenging. And then
yes.
I would say the third thing has been me and my husband's difference of personality. He's the softie, I'm more the drill sergeant, and him holding boundaries with the pigs. Or not holding boundaries with the pigs has caused some top hog issues. Perry still kind of is wrestling with Donovan in some ways, whether he's top hog over Donovan, because Donovan's not quick, meaning he can't move. He doesn't move quickly, and sometimes you want to move quickly to establish that dominance within a second or two after something happening.
Mhm,
Donovan usually isn't right on it. And Perry's really quick, and so sometimes that opportunity window is missed. as well as holding food boundaries. So I was going to say there was a story when we first had Willow. We had her for about a month before Perry joined us. And Donovan was like, surely, like, I can give her little treats here and there that I'm eating, like sharing a banana, like such a bonding experience. Well, lo and behold, one day he is eating his bowl of cereal on the couch, and Willow jumps up on the couch, takes that little snout, and boom, on the bottom of the cereal bowl, and the milk and cereal goes everywhere, all over Donovan, which is his least favorite thing to have food on him. And I think I laughed out loud and did the whole "I told you so" thing. And since then, the boundary has been maintained with not sharing our food. I will occasionally push something off the cutting board onto the floor while they're waiting at my feet begging, but um, yeah, we learned again a lot of that from you. But yeah, just holding boundaries consistently. I think every parent struggles with that in general, and every pet owner as well. But really, I mean, I never let them get away with something ever,
Mm-hmm.
ever. So yeah,
So, question for you with the squealing thing,
yeah.
did in the beginning, how long do you think it took before that was maybe not 100% resolved, if they still deal with it sometimes, but how long before you think that it was, I don't know, tolerable or not mind numbingly,
Hmm.
you know, freak out because of all the noise? I struggle with noise.
Yeah. See.
So, how long do you think before that? Just to kind of give new pig owners an idea.
I feel like we were blessed though because our pig came from you. So, like, once we, covered the crate or shut the door, or I've had some success with saying quiet,
Mm-hmm.
quiet. But again, it does depend on Willa's mood sometimes. But I don't let them out until they've been quiet for at least a second.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we make, we wait to let them out until 5 minutes after the last noise we hear. We do have some keywords like good morning, which
Mm-hmm.
we don't say until we're actually ready to get them out.
Yes, that's good.
So yeah. So I would say honestly, like Willow caught on really quick. You'd already trained her well. So, I would say within, the 48, 56 hour window, she understood what to expect from us. But then we've had a few slip ups, we had the crate uncovered for a while. And then, we had some, um, we had a few instances where like it was an emergency. We had to let them out of the crate immediately because we were running behind and we only had 10 minutes, whatever. And so we just pulled them out even though they were squealing. And I think a few of those things kind of, our progress,
Okay.
um, we lost some progress. So, um, and then when we moved, there was just some more
Mm-hmm.
behavioral issues. And I feel like one of the first behavioral issues that will pop up is squealing, whether from boredom or from some kind of change that they're unfamiliar with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like their go-to.
Yeah.
It's
Which
like,
makes sense.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's communication, you
Yes.
know. All right. So I'm ready to finally jump into this exciting thing that you do with your pigs. So why don't you share with us what you do with them, and then we'll kind of go through some different aspects of it.
Absolutely. So when we had our son, Lincoln, we also moved from the city where we, saw 9 people a day to the country where we saw no one. And our pigs got bored um, because they didn't have that human interaction of strangers. They suddenly had a half acre to do whatever they wanted on, which they loved. But little Lincoln got all the attention now. And of course, they were well taken care of, you know. However, heading into our first fall, um, actually, we had Lincoln in September. So that first kind of winter with the bad weather and them having to be inside more was just hard to the point that it would have been easier just to give them up. Um, and what we did with those feelings of our pigs are driving us crazy, we're new parents and figuring all that out. And also, like, money was really tight. And, we do want the best for our pigs. So we did want, food that was a little more expensive. We wanted to make sure they had fish oil, and those expenses were starting to tax us. Just with where we were at, my husband, his contract ended right as Lincoln was born. So he kind of went into stay at home dad life. We went to one income, a lot of stress. And we were very blessed to be able to reach out to you and be honest with how we were feeling and the type of challenges we were facing, squealing or whatever was going on. And you were really encouraging us. And we had a plan for the types of things that were happening. And so we had about a year of that where when Lincoln was born. So I just started getting these ideas as an entrepreneur. I have the itch. So I'm constantly like, And I jokingly said, what if these little oinkers, paid their own room and board? And it was just an idea kind of over the summer. And, people were missing the pigs. People kept asking about them, I had seen them regularly. And I had always wanted to certify them as therapy pets. And since they were born in 2020, that kind of hope kind of went out the window um, because everything was locked down. But I'd always wanted to train them to the point where I could take them to a nursing home or something like that, even just as like a ministry. So, um, I finally just, again, probably within 24 hours, decided that, you know what, we're going to take them out and we're going to charge for it. Like, we're going to see, kind of like feel it out, see how the community responds. Because we're in a very rural area. We knew it either was going to work or it was going to be terrible and the farmers would laugh us out of town or whatever. Um, so on Labor Day weekend last year, we had a friend who owns a shop downtown. They had this community event where they had a bunch of models walking down the street, and she invited Willa and Perry to be models for her particular section of the walk and paid them to be a part of that. So that was our first event. And talk about overstimulating. We're talking loud music. We were talking people on like a street that's the one street still had cars going down it. We had both Piggies out. Anyway, we again had nothing. We started a business with $0. I ordered new leashes and harnesses because theirs were really tattered, but that is it. And we made our first public appearance. Obviously, the training behind the scenes, we've continued their training ever since we got them from you. And they have, they know a lot of things. But we did have to do a lot of training starting this business too, because suddenly we're navigating a bunch of new environments like elevators and things like that. But we, a few months later, or sorry, a few weeks later, I took a kind of a jumpstart entrepreneur class and got really serious about it. Um, and we formed what's called the Tree Family Party Piggies, of course, named after trees because you had named the litter after trees. And we've been over a year in business, but we do entertainment services like community events, which is our first one. We do, little kids' birthday parties. We even are booked for some weddings here coming up in 2024. But then our other side is our therapy pet services. This is anything from the classic nursing home, senior center, library, school, special needs, you name it. And then we also service businesses who really want something unique to draw in customers and sales. Of course, mini pigs are where it's at. So we do offer some additional marketing features to what we do. But we have built a thriving business in a year with Willow and Perry. We make more than most teachers in our county, and we are currently scaling it to full-time income starting in January. So it's been wild. We are so blessed that the community has received us the way they have. Joining the Chamber of Commerce really helped us kind of get the word out. But the bread and butter of what we do is really servicing nursing homes. We can talk about it later, but there is a dire need for what we're doing all over the United States. And yes, they can afford to pay us. And we deserve to be paid based on the amount of work we put in to make it happen. But people might wonder, like, oh, what do you do when you go out? Well, we offer petting opportunities with our piggies. People can take photos with our pigs, posed or unposed, and we let you feed our piggies. Now, of course, we control all the snacks and what those are. We try to choose low calorie because we might be out for hours. And the pigs are being fed the whole time. So we make sure that our pigs' weight is maintained and they're always eating healthy treats, low sugar, etc. So you could feed the piggies. Then they do all sorts of tricks. The classic jump, sit, spin. Then we do bowing and we do crawling and we do snout painting, which people love watching that
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated. They play a little toddler piano, and the list just goes on of tricks. And then we have a kissing booth, which, of course, Perry, as our gentle lover, is perfect for the kissing booth. And we simply have them step up on a box, put their little snouts in the air, and then we give the kisser a long carrot or some type of vegetable, which they hold tight with their teeth while the piggy munches. And then when their snout touches the person's nose, we hold up a frame that says, I kissed a pig, or, I kissed Perry under the mistletoe, or whatever the theme of the holiday is. While the kiss happens, they let go of the carrot when their snout touches the nose. And Perry usually gives a complimentary oink, which also thrills the crowds. But we dress them up in costumes as well, just to kind of complete the whole wow factor. Our mission is to just spread happiness and joy, which has been incredible to watch that happen in real time. There's just nothing like mini pig therapy. So
Yes.
that is what we do in a nutshell.
It really is incredible because, like I said, I've got to witness it at uh one
It
of
was a
your,
community event.
yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was a community event, and the people, they can't, it's like bubbles up in them. They almost can't control themselves. They're so excited. And everywhere you go, I have a pig sticker on the back of my van, and every time someone sees it, they know somebody who's a huge pig lover, or their
Oh,
daughter is, or their
absolutely.
son is, or
Yes.
they are. And people
Yes.
have these amazing, like, pig little statue or stuffed animal collections. So they've
Mm-hmm.
had that for so long, and then they get to see a pig,
Yeah.
pet a pig, get a picture with a pig, kiss a
Mm-hmm.
pig, and see
Mm-hmm.
it do these like really cool tricks and painting it. I mean, people, I don't know about you, but I've had people come here and cry. Like,
Oh, yeah. All ages too.
yes.
I mean, my latest like win has been 20 to 30-year-old men dragging their wives, girlfriends to the outskirts of where the crowd has gathered. And I invite people in, to interact. And when I say, would you like to feed the pig? I look at the woman,
Uh-huh.
side eye the guy. And when I ask that question, their face lights up more than their counterpart. And
Yes.
then I realized that they were, drug them over here and
They're the
they're
pig
so
lover. Yeah.
excited. Yes. Grandmas come without their grandkids just to see the
Mhm.
pig. Oh my goodness, you name it. Usually the older men sometimes will hang back. They're smiling just as much.
Yeah.
They're thrilled for their grandkid or their wife or whoever it is. And what's crazy is we're sometimes people's first pig interaction,
Yes.
like ever. And that blows my mind kind of as a country girl. Um, but it's really important. I mean, when we talk about the impact of what we do, um, it's a ripple effect that sometimes you don't even know how significant it is for people. We have grandmas in nursing homes, and their grandkids and their daughter or whoever shows up on the day that we're there. And those people aren't necessarily with that person every day. But we get to be there creating what is probably their final core memories
Mhm.
together. Um, we have, a mom who struggles with her special needs kids, come see us at a community event, and we're equipped to handle a kid who may have more energy or who has some disability that limits their function. And they get to touch something that is living and breathing and moves and feels different, and they get to have an effect on that animal, like feeding them a treat. And the moms just can't believe that, they want that for their child,
Mhm.
but they don't always get it. And you know, the list just goes on and on. We speak with so many people who are depressed. We get reviews from activity directors saying we haven't seen this person smile in months. They're still talking about it. They were lit up while you were here. That you can't put a price tag on that. Like that is what I get to go home with, knowing the difference I made every day. Um, it's making someone feel special, a star of the show. It might just be offering a kid the leash to take the pig on a 20-second walk, but they felt important,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So we really, we say we spread piggy joy everywhere we go. We do, but we make a big difference. Enough that, I've had some skeptical, let's say, family members, really poo-poo on the idea. And I've had one say, after witnessing us going through a parade, wow, you guys really do make people happy. I was like, finally, someone's seen the light. Just
Wow.
special. Yeah, it's
Wow.
really special to be able to do that.
It is amazing what you do. And so let's talk a little bit about how the pigs do.
Yeah.
So when it comes to strangers, how do the
Yeah.
pigs do with strangers?
Yeah. They do remarkably well. I was actually worried about how the pigs would like this business, which I hired Autumn to come out and evaluate because I wanted to make sure that the pigs were okay and we're not just using them to make money, if that makes sense. That
Right.
was really important to me. So we've first of all, we know our pigs. We know their body language. We know when they're uncomfortable, when they're nervous. We watch the tail. We watch the ears. Of course, mohawk is a late sign, but we watch the mohawk. And they love it. So when it comes to strangers, we are really, sometimes the person accidentally sneaks up really fast and tries to scratch them under here, and the pig jumps back. But we're always there, we're always present, and we are always tuned into the animal more than the person interacting with them. So we know how we're directing them. Hey, pet them on the top of the head. Oh, their back is their favorite place to get scratched. Well, not necessarily true. It's the favorite spot for a stranger to scratch because
Yeah.
we're not comfortable yet. And the pigs really love interacting with strangers because we make sure that there is always a reward for the activity that they're doing. So if they have 5 kids with long scratchers all over their body doing their little scratching, the pig is foraging for Cheerios on the ground. The pig loves it. When the pig's done, the pig looks up and says, Mama, like I did good.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have more Cheerios? And of course, I put more on the ground, but there's constantly a reward for what they're doing. So they love it to the point that sometimes we have a little bit of a disruption in the show, so to speak, because there's a piggy who's crated because the other piggy's on stage. And this piggy is like trying to eat their way out of a crate or oinking because they want to be the center of attention, which is hilarious. It just adds to the whole entertainment, people laughing. So that is how much they love it. You've watched them try to like or once you take them out of the crate, they just like shoot to the
Yes.
entertainment area.
Yes. They are ready. They're
They
ready
are
to
so
go.
ready.
And we had some lulls that day because of the
Yeah.
weather. The weather
Yeah,
was
weather
a
was
little bit
terrible.
bad. So we had some lulls and they didn't like it because they were ready to get back to people and they were walking towards the people and we had to go like herd them back. Like, no, 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 people are going to come to
Yes.
us. And
Yes.
I was so impressed with how well they handled all that attention. And I really do have to say that, I mean, you know them and you watch them, you know every sign from them, because there were a couple times where you said, well, you know what, let's swap them. Let's
Yeah.
bring Perry in and let's take Willow out and we'll put her over. You have like a little area where she can be grazing or she can just be laying in the sun or whatever she wants.
Which
She's off duty.
let the record state though, depending on the event, they are crated because that is the only place people will not be swarming and wanting to
True.
pet and I'm not comfortable with someone approaching my pig if I'm not there. So
Yes.
sometimes my husband's there depending on the event. But I am responsible for my pets, their happiness, as well as other people's well-being. And if I put my pet in a situation where they're scared and they bite out of fear, or they're just in a bad mood, need space, and they're overstimulated, it's my fault. If someone gets nipped or whatever, head swiped, or if someone's dog comes up and the pig's uncomfortable with it, Willow will head swipe any dog, doesn't matter how big, which then a dog could like fight back or something,
Right.
or it could terrify Perry. And if he's on a leash, let's say attached to a stake or something, he has this, 360 circle. Well, if he's harnessed and leashed and some predator comes up and I don't see it, that's also my fault. So I take high responsibility of everything that's happening and make sure that each situation, I mean, I'll put my body between Because, you know, I mean, dogs, I would say, are the biggest threat. One
Right.
of the biggest threats to us being out in public. Um, but I have to be ready at any time. Yeah.
Yeah. And you do a great job. You really do.
Thank you.
Fantastic job. What about going to new places? Because
Yeah.
that's something for a pig that is not really part of their comfort zone to go new places.
Yeah. And again, we started out very, very young. And I know not everyone listening today has the option of starting over. So for us, we were blessed. We got them from autumn. They had already traveled in the car and done all these things. And so we walked them down the street very, very young. We went into whatever, you know, pet friendly places were around, whether that was different storefronts or, you know, Tractor Supply or whatever's closest to you. Um, and I wear a fanny pack at all times, and it is always full of treats. And those, if they're feeling hesitant, which I can tell if they're a little skittish or feeling nervous, I'll put some treats out in front of them and kind of can help encourage the continuation of the path forward. Now, sometimes we get to a point where they are not comfortable, which actually still happens to us. I had a situation this last weekend. We were at a birthday party at a public library. They were going down into the basement of this library where the party was. And I knew when I arrived, it was 2 flights of steps. They were kind of concrete with maybe a little varnish on them. So I knew
Mm.
that even safety wise, I need to think about it because Perry is about an 80 pound pig right now. And his weight, he does carry a little differently than Willow. So it's a little harder for him to do steps than her. And I knew there was no way I was getting him down there. I actually didn't even try. He needs more training. And even the risk of those steps, that it wasn't worth it to me. So I knew I was going to try to coax Willow down. And I spent X amount of minutes trying. And I knew at that point I was just going to carry her. And she's maybe 5 or 10 pounds lighter. But depending, stairs and elevators are really challenging things to navigate when you're in new environments. I would say another one would be automatic doors. And I
Yes.
would say, hey, find some place like Tractor Supply that isn't really busy, where your pet is welcome anytime, anywhere. And just bring all the treats and then be patient. I am not a patient person. And I actually tried to quickly, AKA force Willow to go up some stairs at the same location. It was after the event. Um, and she didn't want to. And she, you know, backed up, you know, was just like, I'm not going to go. And I was like, oh, but clean up the Cheerios, you know, close to where I wanted you to go. She wouldn't even go there because she was afraid that I was going to force her to go up the steps. And they were safer steps, they were stone, whatever. But it's like, okay, what do you do when your pig balks or is terrified of something new? Well, you say never force the pig. With my personality, I've forced them a few times.
Well,
I
yes,
will
I
admit.
do force in little ways, but it's hard if it's something that you want to teach them to be okay with.
Exactly. You cannot traumatize them. And
Yes.
trauma is created whenever someone is overwhelmed or something is overwhelmed. So you
Hmm.
really have to keep that in mind. So depending on where your pig is at or personality, like it's going to take me X amount of time to get Perry comfortable. So let's say you do go to Tractor Supply for the first time with your pig. First of all, you obviously have to go through all the steps of making them comfortable in the car, but then they're in a parking lot, you know, and you sprinkle treats on the ground. You might be in the parking lot for 10 minutes, maybe half an hour, maybe that's as far as you get, you
Hmm.
know, but then you go towards a sliding door and maybe it's just being within 10 feet. So they get used to the sound of that, you
Mm.
know, then they get used to the sight of it. And again, you might want to bring degrees of treats. Cheerios is our like common average
Yeah.
everyday treat that we use
Base.
for training.
Yes.
Yeah. And then kind of grapes, apples, blueberries, which again, apples are above blueberries. um, and then carrots and are like here, and then bananas are like
Oh
up
yeah.
here. And then I'm sure if I added like, you know, candy cane,
Yeah.
dye free, of course, that'd probably be like top tier. But I actually thought about getting one the other day because I was working on Perry with steps, specifically our car carrier steps. You and I have talked and realized it's not quite strong or stable enough for his weight. It is strong
Mhm.
enough for his weight, but not stable enough for him to feel comfortable. But I was running into that man. He's just nervous enough. No matter what type of treat I bring out, he's just not going. So just again, learning your pig and giving them an amount that they can handle without being completely overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Um, because I've seen my pigs completely overwhelmed. And the times where that is actually elevators for us. That is our
Mm.
most stressful situation. No one's ever, peed or been that afraid. But Willow had to take an elevator to get into a TV studio. And her tail was between her legs. And she was almost didn't want to eat the treat. She was so scared.
Wow.
So we made it quick. And then we've done other elevators since then, but I would have to deadlift her, carry her into the elevator, make sure the door was closed before I put her down. And it
Mm-hmm.
was actually entering. It wasn't the feeling of going up and down or whatever. She
No.
was fine with that. It was
Oh,
that scary,
this,
little cracks and going
yeah.
over those. And even, I mean, the door opening, closing, a little scary for her, but it was the surface. So you just have to learn that instead of it's so easy just to be frustrated. Why is my pig bulking? But just kind of stepping back and go observing the environment and going, what's scaring my pig?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it's not what you think it is. It might be a color. Little kids with their jackets tied around their waist. It's those arms of their sweatshirt flopping around really close to their face. That's scary. Halloween costumes. Oh my goodness. It might be the sound that those blow up rustling ones.
Mm-hmm.
Our pigs did amazing this year. But we had multiple spooks where I let the pig back down. We usually have them step up on a little box to get a treat from someone who's feeding it to them. I let the pig back down and kind of, startle and then made sure they were comfortable to come back up. But I would explain to the kid, oh, I'm sorry, Perry's feeling nervous right now because, and I've gotten so sharp at observing what's making him nervous, but I'll usually just say, oh, it's your costume. How about we give that to your mom, that whatever colorful flashing sword,
Yeah.
and you come back and try again. Or I'm going to kind of block half your costume so that you can kind of swing your arm around and feed the pig or whatever. Just not forcing your pig,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yes. That's such good advice. What about the car? Do they do well in the car?
They do. Thanks to you again. They do great in the car. We often, if we're going over train tracks or there's some sudden stop or start, we'll hear little protesting oinks. But otherwise, it's silence. And I don't know if we've ever dealt with squealing in the car,
Mm.
thankfully. And again, training from a young age. The crate we use, we have a separate travel crate from our house crate, but they know the crate is safe. We have had some trouble getting them into the car. We did deadlifting up until last year, or I should say, even half a year ago, we really started using a car stairs. But Perry hates to be picked up. And even though he's been picked up from a young age, um, again, Donovan had a few times where he wasn't quite confident enough to give Perry the secure lift. And so he can still do it in a pinch, but Perry's just scared.
Mm-hmm.
Think what we really need to do is like maybe put a whimsy on the counter and we lift to get the whimsy and just start doing more positive association. We just haven't had time to do that.
Yeah.
But we are training a car stairs just to protect our backs.
Right.
Since we were doing this, they're leaving our house, you know, 5 days a week, maybe for an hour, um, maybe for five. But for example, tomorrow I'm going to two nursing homes. One is actually, I have a private room visit for a hospice patient. So we're going to be lifting in and out of the car, 3, 4 times. And what's important is sometimes if you are taking your pig out, the unloading circumstances aren't ideal and you're actually in a dangerous environment. You might be beside a road. You might be, things need to go smoothly. You can't have a pig try to jump out of your car,
Mm-hmm.
from 3, 4 feet up. Their surface they could land on could be dangerous. Um, anyway, it's just very interesting what type of things you run into.
Mm-hmm. That is that is definitely something for people to think about. So, is there anything else that you specifically wanted to talk about when it comes to your business or what you do with your pigs?
Yeah, I think what's important for people to know is that with the proper amount of training, number one, you can enjoy your pig, but you can share your pig. And I think most of us want to share this,
Mm-hmm.
incredible blessing that we have. And, once you see its effect on people, it can be pretty addictive. Um, and I really want people to know that especially if they are needing a little extra income, or it's fair to be compensated for your time and energy that you're putting into your pig in order for people to have this interaction with them, because people would never ever have the opportunity to interact with a pig on the level that your pig or my pig is on. For example, they go to a farm, they're going to get bit, piglet's going to squeal, run away, you name it. That's what's normal. So the fact that they can have this interaction on top of, for us, we pay for our costumes. Those are a huge part of the excitement we
Mhm.
cause. We've spent hundreds of hours training XYZ trick and doing this and that. I pay for treats. I pay for the crate. I do all this stuff. You know, as far as doing it as a business, it is very important that you're charging for your time and your worth. And your pig deserves, some special treats for
Yeah.
making people happy. So, um, but there really is a market for this. Even if you just want to certify your pet and volunteer, nursing homes alone could use everyone. um, I have had places I've gone back multiple times. And every single time we have several that we serve on a quarterly basis. Every time, even if that person's met the pig before, they are so excited to continue the relationship. We have kids that come to every single one of our public events to interact with the piggy, and it doesn't matter how many times, they are just delighted and thrilled. So there's a lot of demand out there. Um, Whether it's, public libraries wanting therapy pets for kids who are practicing their reading out loud to grow confident to read to an animal. Um, I have called most nursing homes within a 2-hour radius of where I live, and 90% of them to come, want me to come. That's how much demand there is for these types of services. The fact that they are not dogs and they are something other than dogs makes it very advantageous for people to want something new and different. And as far as the general public is concerned, everyone's tired of hiring the clown or the balloon guy or the bounce house. So to have something different, whether it's for a birthday party, every parent who has a budget for those kind of things is looking for something new and different. They don't want to just go to the local skating rink and have the same type of party they did for their kids last, party 2 years ago.
Right.
So people really are excited and grateful. I have so many people be like, wow, I'm so glad you decided to go in business because my family needed this. My mom needed this. We wanted to invite you to our gender reveal. We wanted it to be different than everyone else's gender reveal. We want our wedding to be different than everyone else's gender reveal. And your pig could be a part of making people remember that person's event or their life or whatever. Um, so I also wanted to say that if someone does want to cross that bridge of having a pet pig become either a certified therapy pet, which of course your course is incredible. We got both of them certified through Autumn Acres Mini Pet Pigs Certified Therapy course. Highly, highly recommend it. Again, the support that you give throughout that process is worth its weight in gold. But if you do want to cross the bridge of, your pig just being your pet to one that is certified as a therapy pet, and then one that can support the family's income, you can reach out to us anytime. We have a mentorship program as well as a course that will give you everything we've learned so that you don't have to, make the mistakes, exactly what to say when you ask someone if you are wanting to do a more proactive approach to building a business, or if you just want to know how to handle, questions and requests that people are making.
Mhm. That is unbelievable that you provide that, because this hardest part of the whole thing is and like knowing how to get started.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
literally walk people right through how to do it. I think, do you have different tiers where people can, they can just get the information, or they can actually get
Yes.
support and help from you?
Yes. I
I
think
mean,
all of us learn a different level, and all of us, some people are entrepreneurs and don't need a lot of help figuring out how to set up, all the things, the back end of things, or really confident with sales or whatever. And there's other people who are like, I might be 50 years old and I haven't been in school since high school and I don't know how to learn all these things. Just, whatever year. So we just have a course that's basically a business in a box. Here's how to do it. Obviously, you have your own pig. but they would be working with you as well really closely. And then we have, something where we're walking alongside you, helping you figure it out at the beginning. And then we have more of a regular monthly, biweekly, whatever the need is for you to have that mentorship as you're launching and continuing running your business and what to do when you run into roadblocks. So, I mean, we cover everything from, how to do research in your area. We started a really area that we didn't think would do well. Like my business would do 10 times better in any other area. So I'm pretty sure your business would do well no matter the area. Who to contact when you're just starting and you need some sales. We would tell you right away that, the first people you need to contact are the senior centers and nursing homes. Step two would be to work with YMCAs and libraries. Step three, depending on your area, might be a school system, etc. But how to actually start getting those regular appointments so that you have dependable income. How to network with other businesses around you, like the Chamber of Commerce, so people can even find out that you're in business. How to do your social media, how to do pricing in your area, because it's different for everybody, and pricing is like the scariest thing. At least for me it is.
Yeah.
We can get you other free business coaching resources, and then of course the nitty gritty. Where do I buy my costumes? What type of services do I offer? How do I train this? What do I do if I only have one pig and they're overstimulated and I need to leave? What type of legal agreements and things need to be in place so that I still get paid? And the list just goes on. But
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. I hope that if there's somebody out there listening that really wants to do this, that they will get in touch with you. How can they do that?
Yeah. So our website, Tree Family Party Piggies, that's PIGGIES.com, is our best place to go. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and just send us a message or send us an email, and we'll get you started on just whether it's learning more about what we offer, answering your questions, or if you're ready to just, off to the races.
Yes, thank you. We will put all of those in the show notes so that it
Absolutely.
makes it easy on everybody. So I have one question left for you. I always end with this question. If you had one piece of advice to give to somebody who wants to get a pig, what would that be?
I love that. I would say the biggest piece of advice I have is to use small treats to reassure your pig,
Mm.
whether that's enforcing bonding between you and them, or they're in a situation that is a little outside their comfort zone. We're not talking like, oh, here's a piece of pie, oh, here's this big thing, but like, here's a Cheerio. It's kind of like grabbing the pig by the face and being like, no, you and me, we're here right now. Here's a treat. It's really bringing them back in, because you might be in your own home or you might be outside of the home, but there's a lot going on. And bringing them back to, no, I'm here with you. You're okay. I'm okay. Let's have this fun, share this experience of like me giving you a treat and you taking a treat, and just kind of, whether it's calming their nervous system, helping you focus, just that small interaction of reassuring with a treat.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It like helps them to refocus.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. It's been awesome. I love that you have a way that you can help other people who want to do this amazing thing of taking their pig places and just helping people bring a smile to their face and feel happy. It's such a rewarding thing to be able to do.
Let me say this too. We're not just entertainment. You know how entertainment can just be a distraction
Mm-hmm.
from what's really going on? We actually we leave a lasting impression. We actually um, leave lasting joy through the memories of what was the experience with their animals, but also the memories of the people that you had that experience with, whether it's a mom and her daughter, a grandpa and his grandkid, or an older woman with her daughter, out shopping together. We leave a lasting impression, not just this fleeting moment. And you and your pig could actually change someone's mental health, which makes or breaks people's moments in life. So
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to end. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.